During the 1980s, the CIA hires an American pilot for a covert mission, not knowing that he will end up getting involved with the Medellin cartel and running both operations in parallel. That's why, today American made. If you enjoy the videos, support the channel by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. It's free and it really helps me keep growing. Now let's get started. This story, based on real life, begins in 1978 with the pilot Barry Seal, a very distinctive man whom we meet during a flight where he decides to play a prank on his passengers, pretending there's a lot of turbulence just to scare them. During his successful piloting career, he started a small business selling Cuban products through smuggling at the Canadian borders. His clients are from the various countries he typically visits. After a while, CIA agent Monty Chaffer discovers him. Instead of imprisoning him, Monty shares the United States plan to strengthen foreign bases and offers him an important mission. They give him a luxury small plane to fly over some countries north of the equator. While he's there, he has to take photographs of the groups they define as enemies of democracy and bring them back so the government can analyze them. Monty warns him the job is undercover, so even his wife Lucy shouldn't know, or she could get into serious trouble. Despite this, our protagonist accepts and quits his job before starting the next one. This occurs during the Cold War as Barry journeys through Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, capturing remarkable photos amid dangerous attacks. The CIA is pleased with his service, so they later send him to Panama with the task of bribing important colonels in exchange for relevant information about internal politics. He arrives in Colombia in 1980, where a group of men force him to a luxurious house. There he meets Jorge, who is aware of all the trips he has made, the protection of the American authorities. He tells him about a business opportunity involving exporting drugs to the United States, a business that was very successful for them until they suddenly faced maritime transport issues. He offers him $2,000 per kilo transported, giving him few options. Luckily, Barry manages to deliver the packages at the agreed location without being discovered by customs. Weeks later, the Drug Enforcement Administration catches him at a meeting with Pablo Escobar, leading to his arrest. The good thing is that Monty goes to look for him in jail, telling him that they've discovered all his trafficking work. Again, he gives him a new mission in Nicaragua instead of arresting him. The Uruguayan government aims to end their enemies' control in this country, and for that the most suitable person is none other than our protagonist. When Barry returns home, he meets a desperate Lucy without much explanation. He tells her that they have to pack everything because it's time to move, not caring that it's 4 in the morning. The woman ends up agreeing, even though she doesn't understand what's happening. That same day, they arrive in Mina to live in a large CIA-provided house. The issue is that Lucy isn't very happy with these changes, as she's in a small town. The house is in the woods on the town's outskirts. But now there's no time to argue about this since Monty has gone to get Barry for an emergency meeting. Hours later, the CIA agent brings him to an airport as payment so he can begin his new assignment. He must now deliver boxes of weapons to Nicaragua to support rebels fighting the country's government. Barry won't accept what's coming, but Monty gives him few choices. He reminds him that right now he could be rotting in a Colombian prison. And as if that weren't enough, he also gives him a bag of money. At their new home, Lucy argues with him out of fear, suspecting his involvement in illegal activities. Now she's worried about her safety, her daughters, and her unborn baby. But the argument ends quickly when the girl sees that our protagonist has a bag full of money to improve their lives. He admits to her that he works for the CIA, but she doesn't believe him. In 1981, Barry arrives at the Contras camp, a Nicaraguan resistance group funded by the United States government. He must complete his new mission, but when he introduces himself, he can't communicate and is forced to run away. A few hours later, he returns with boxes of magazines, Mopor, and plenty of liquor to be welcomed. They also speak with the group leader, who then unexpectedly meets Omar, who offers him a new proposal. The plan is to move American weapons to Colombia and then send their drugs back to the Contras in Nicaragua, who will make the last smuggling run to Miami. Over time, the operations expanded so much that Barry hired 4 more smuggler pilots. to cover various routes without the authorities noticing everything. Things change when Monty asks him to bring some Contras to Mina for government training to strengthen them. This starts to become a problem, since many of the Nicaraguans are desperate to escape their country. Still, our protagonist's work never stops, so more money keeps coming in. And with this, he managed to help his family improve their economic situation quickly. In the summer of 1982, Barry had to resort to creating several companies, hiring random strangers as CEOs for each of them. His only goal is to be able to justify all the money he has, although all of this is not enough. He has no choice but to stash cash in shoeboxes and bury more in the yard. Soon after, he amasses over $100 million in cash, properties, and gold jewelry. He also strengthens ties with Medellin cartel drug traffickers and eventually includes his wife in his work celebration. But just as everything is going well, things get complicated by an unexpected visit. J.B., his brother-in-law, unexpectedly arrives at his house to reunite with his sister and nephews after years apart. This time, the guy asks for money and our protagonist is ready to give it to him. But Lucy doesn't agree, since she wants to teach him the value of work. The girl insists until Barry agrees to hire him as an employee at his airport. But after a few days, they're surprised to see that the guy has a new car. He quickly realizes J.B. stole a lot of money he found in the hangar. At the beginning of 1983, the authorities start using modern jets to chase Barry's men as suspects. And that's when they have to rethink their flight routes. At the same time, the small town of Mina in Arkansas starts to attract the attention of the FBI. Due to the large amounts of money circulating recently, a detective comes to investigate. A few days later, the United States Air Patrol finds the protagonist's truck and orders an emergency landing. But he decides to disobey, pretending that he crashed in the middle of a neighborhood. Fortunately, he manages to escape from there. Conflicts are starting in Colombia for Pablo Escobar, making business meetings unsafe in Medellin. So the new meeting point is in Nicaragua. Our protagonist sets off on a new emergency trip after the sheriff catches J.B. with a suitcase full of cash. This lands him in prison, and Lucy quickly calls her husband to handle it. Our protagonist, Justo, is meeting with the Medellin cartel and starts to worry, since it could be a threat to him. Without time to think, he gets a new order from Pablo Escobar to quickly move 1,500 kilos of drugs. Barry's forced to accept the deal again. When he returns to Mina, he tries to call J.B., asking him to stay quiet while he figures out how to help. But there's one more complication. It turns out that the cartel knows what's happening with his brother-in-law, and they inform him that they're going to take care of everything, so the situation doesn't distract him from work. J.B. is freed, and hours later, Barry gives him a bag of money to help him escape far away. While feeling abandoned, the boy threatens the protagonist, saying he'll report him to the police. If he doesn't send him more money regularly, he threatens him, managing to provoke him. That's why Barry goes after him to catch up, but he can only witness the exact moment when his car explodes and J.B. dies at the hands of the Medellin cartel. Days later, the CIA learns many of the 10,500 AKs sent to the Contras ended up with the Colombian cartel. Half of the Nicaraguans who came to the United States for training escaped because they don't want to return home. Monty is scolded by his boss for this. He then tells our protagonist the mansion is finished and they'll contact him if there's any news. But does he really order an investigation against Barry to find anything that links him to drug trafficking? Within hours, they reach his airport, the Drug Enforcement Administration Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives State Police, and FBI. They all have reasons to arrest him. Barry is quickly brought to a meeting with the Arkansas Attorney General, who is ready to seek a life sentence against him. During her threatening speech, she's interrupted by a call from Governor Bill Clinton, who orders his release. And immediately, Barry is sent with unknown men who take him to the White House itself, where they propose that he continue with his deliveries. He will continue working for the Medellin cartel, but now must use their plane, which have some hidden cameras. Our protagonist does it. And during this new trip, Pablo Escobar notices something strange about him, so he asks if everything is okay. So Barry tries hard to pretend that nothing is wrong. This way, he gets the photos that the United States government was looking for, to show Pablo Escobar is still trafficking drugs from Colombia with the Nicaraguan government. The issue is that Barry's smiling face appears in every photo. President Reagan openly displays them on national television without trying to hide his identity. From here, our protagonist officially becomes the traitor of the Medellin cartel. Fearing the worst for himself and his family, he decides to contact the White House again, but they turn their backs on him. With no other choice, he spends his last hours with his family as if saying goodbye. That afternoon, the FBI seizes all his properties, claiming they were bought with drug money. And while this is happening, Barry tells Lucy that he has decided to turn himself in to the authorities. She accepts the idea that her husband will probably go to prison for the rest of his life. So they make love one last time. Days later, everyone is surprised when the judge sentences them to just 1,000 hours of community service. Although this is good news, Barry doesn't want to return to real life, knowing the Medellin cartel will eventually seek revenge. He chooses to record many videotapes of his story. When he leaves the motel, he fears his car might explode when starting it, yet continues on with that fear. In the following days, Barry keeps changing locations to avoid being found, but still has to return to the same place for his community service. One afternoon, he can't do much more as his inevitable fate appears, when a stranger shoots him through his car window and he dies. After this, we see that Monty got a promotion. Our protagonist's partner became a rural pastor in Alabama, and nothing else was ever heard. As for the rest of the Smuggler pilots, the CIA kept sending planes to Nicaragua until one of them was shot down. This led to the Iran-Contra controversy, where the United States government sought new participants in the conflict. Lucy returned to Louisiana with her kids to make an honest living, but still kept the $1 million jewel to remember her husband's story. This was American-made. Remember to like, comment which movies you want, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming videos.